everyone, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today I've been starting on some spring cleanup. Spring cleaning on the farm means so much more than spring cleaning your house, getting out the cobwebs and getting out the dust. It means getting the farm ready for another growing year, for plants, animals, and any other projects that might need to get started for the year. So what we're looking at here is my afternoon project. I've brought some nice rye straw from the barn that Trey made for me last summer, and I'm going to be mulching my strawberry, raspberry, and blackberry patch and the grapevines. I get a few wild brambles here, but the raspberries are migrating south. I think it's funny that they're migrating south because they're getting shaded by the grapevine once it gets filled out. But this used to be a nice neat row of raspberries and a nice neat row of blackberries. One small mistake that I didn't keep in mind when I planted my blackberries is these are not the thornless variety, and they are suckers. When they grab you, it hurts. I've had them get caught in my hair, I've had them get caught through my clothes, and they don't want to let loose. So 1-year-old stems are not going to produce any fruit. Second and third year ones do. Most of the third year ones don't provide much. So I've gone through, I've topped them all off. They say anywhere from 1 to 2 feet. I kind of go anywhere from 2 to maybe 3 feet. Some people just mow them right down and start over fresh. Now I used to run the lawnmower right here through the middle, and for 2 years I ended up with no blackberries, because everything again was growing to the south. Every now and then I'll dig up a few clumps and I'll plant them back over here, and occasionally they start to migrate this way to the north. The pine trees kind of affect the soil and they don't get as much sun, so they don't tend to go that way too much. Now I've got T-posts through here with a little bit of wire for support. These canes get 8 feet tall easily, and they tend to bow over when they get real heavy. They're already starting to blossom out a little bit. And then you can see here, this is looking real nice. We've got greens growing, but I also don't want the grass growing up. So we're gonna smother out the light for that grass. Any new shoots of the raspberries and blackberries will come up, but it's a good time to do any donating to neighbors when you want to do some cleaning out and thinning. So you've got baby plants popping up. These will be first years. It's just a natural progression every year. But those are strong enough roots and already tall enough that a light layer of straw, I can add some more straw later and we can keep these weeds down. I do get a few pricker bushes in here like burdock and other things that we don't want, so I can bring a shovel and dig that right out before it gets real huge, because they can be a problem and start spreading. In previous years I've had a few growing here, and a lot of times if the weeds get too tall, I'll just go right through here with a weed whacker and get it cut down. But I try to mulch this down with old bedding from the barn anytime I can. So overall, my raspberry patch has been kind of thin because they are growing up in rows over here. And it's really hard to work in the grapes in the fall with blackberries grabbing your ankles. One thing I will tell you about the straw is a lot of times the mice will like to make beds underneath them. I've got a few wild rabbits living in here, and I've got a woodchuck living up there. So I do like to keep them away whenever possible. However, I'm not a big fan of garden fencing. I don't need anything for an extra chore around here, weed whacking and trimming. I've got deer problems where they like to eat my fruit trees, so they're all caged with wire fencing, and I don't want to do any more than that. Now, one thing about putting straw down, you probably want it as weed-free as possible. And because this is going to be food for our children, we're using our organic straw. This is a real good job to do before it gets much warmer. We've had a couple of warm days. Yesterday, even this morning, I had a little bit of snow, so I'd really like to get this garden going. And then we can get on to more seed, and then I can get on to more seed planting and seed starting. Now, a long time ago, I had read about using plastics, which work really great, but I don't want to put any chemicals, anything like that down on the ground. And we all know plastics are made with chemicals. One thing I will tell you is that they don't break down very fast. So it's a quick, easy solution. This is a quick, cheap solution. The current situation of the economy and everything that's going on with this virus going around, this is a good time to use what we already have in the barn. One year I put down a bunch of cardboard boxes and I didn't think much about it. I flattened them out and I put them down. I didn't take any of the packing tape off of those boxes. And I am still pulling out plastic and packing tape from this garden patch. Now I went through about a week ago and I cut these all back, loaded it all up in the Dodge and put it in the burning pile out back. Any dead and 3-year-old stems are just going to snap right off, so don't worry about stepping on things. If it's so dry that it breaks, it's probably dead anyway. Well, 4 bales of straw went pretty far, so I want to add another row on the opposite side of my wire there to mulch that and get some more here for the grapevine. I do want to dig up some baby plants over here in this row, so I'm not going to cover this just yet, but I'm going to take a break to go get some more, and I'll see you back in a minute. I've had a lot of requests lately for people wanting to do straw bale gardens. We tried it one year with the pumpkins. Just kind of hollow out some stalks and add pockets of soil. And we got a few small pumpkins, but I wouldn't say it was with any great success. So if you've tried that in your garden, let me know what kind of a planting you did, whether you started with plants or seeds, and let me know how it turned out. and you want to do straw bale gardening, you can look that up. It's a really neat idea where you use a whole bale, you hollow it out a little bit, you put some dirt mix, your potting mix, down into the bale, and then the bale will help retain moisture. That's a whole nother video that I haven't gotten to yet, but I wanted to share with you the mulching the garden beds with straw. It really does help keep down the grass and the weeds. We're already using byproduct that is waste from our farm. For the most part, this is straw and hay that we swept off of the barn floor or out of the storage trailers or out of the barn loft. They do recommend, they say 1 to 3 inches, but with actual grass growing up in here, you might have to do a little bit of weed whacking or a little bit of hand pulling, but it sure beats trying to sort it all out. A lot of the raspberry canes have put out new growth now, and they're going to be putting out blossoms anytime, and this is going to make it a lot neater and a lot easier to get in here and do any pruning, any harvesting, or any thinning in my raspberry patches and my blackberry patch. So that's it for today, everybody. Thanks for watching. Remember to hit that like button down at the bottom and the notification bell so you know when the next video comes out. See you next time. Bye-bye.